So this is it. The apocalypse. Not a single person in sight. Ruins everywhere. Saunas at workplaces. Oh, sorry, it's just Finland.
Someone should get that fixed.
So, Infra is a very interesting game. It's neatly placed between what I call glorified benchmark games like Vanishing of Gone Esther and Half-Life, but without any kind of combat. The only combat you can see in this game is when the main character struggles to keep his knees from giving up on him when he takes more than just one step on the staircase. So, when you take out the combat system and a certain microwaved incident at Black Mesa, what's really left of the game that's just using texture circa Half-Life 2 in the current year? Well, surprisingly, quite a lot of stuff. The developers started working on this game as far back as 2011, running purely on their own motivation. 2 years later, they put their project on Steam Greenlight. Remember Greenlight? And how about this game? I'm sure you can still remember its name. Another 2 years later, they launched an Indiegogo campaign, which raised about 33,000 Malaysian ringgits, so they were good to go. Now, if you already cracked the Finnish pattern for developing games, you can guess that another 2 years have passed, and then the developers finally released the full version of the game. And you know, it strikes an interesting balance between walking simulators and those German games that teach people how to increase their country's GDP. You know what I'm talking about. And it's borrowing gameplay elements from those two genres. Here we're doing some routine stuff on one side, and we have gorgeous scenery to go through on the other. So what is this game about? Actually, I'm gonna save you the trouble. Let's just look at the official game wiki. It will tell us more about the... Oh, I'll do it. You play as Mark, a structural analyst working in a country that takes the top in the World Happiness Report, because all the depressed people off themselves during the season of winter madness. So your task is to determine the infrastructural damage of the city of Stahlberg, by taking pictures for your engineering themed scrapbook, turning on valves here and there, and trying to reach your office building alive in a series of escalating death traps. And I think that even in Finland this qualifies as having a really bad day. So now, you have to scavenge for camera batteries,
Packs of flashlight batteries now.
find a payphone to order more beer,
Hello. You've reached Osmo Olut customer service. How can I help you?
Hello. So, I bought this 24 pack of beer yesterday, but I noticed there were only 23 beers in it.
We're so sorry about that. We can send you 10 24 packs as a free replacement.
That's great. You can send them to the NCG Starburg office.
and stumble upon geocache boxes, which is apparently still a thing that definitely wasn't appropriated by dark web drug dealers like it has been in my country. The story aspect of this game is quite interesting. I mean, you can just fuck around and play spot the OSHA violations and pay absolute lip service to the actual plot of the game. I mean, just go ahead and do some inspection, don't mind the story too much, and treat this game like your comfort food and an obstacle course between you and the next photo. However, you should know that Infra is deeper than it seems. A lot deeper. So if you decide to make an actual effort to follow the plot points, then you have to find all these interesting scraps of information about what's going on in the world and the city you live in. Because something is definitely going on. And you can miss a lot of those plot points, trust me. What's even more surprising is that even though the levels are linear and don't branch out, they usually have different routes. And if you manage to find an alternative path, then you'll learn more about the overarching story, or sometimes you can find something like this. Don't ask. This game rewards you for exploring and being observant all the time, and it's a complete opposite of the toxic relationship you've built over time with other franchises, crawling back to them once in a while just because you cannot let them go. To be honest, I wouldn't call the story groundbreaking or anything, but it's solid, and it presents itself in an interesting way using environmental storytelling as one of its biggest advantages. And speaking of that, let me try to come up with a good example of environmental storytelling. Okay, I got it. So let's imagine that one time you went into your sister's bedroom and found these Queen of Spades panties, okay? So the obvious logical questions are, what story can this piece of garment tell us? And what secrets does it keep? Well, using the principles of environmental storytelling, we can arrive at the conclusion that your sister plays poker. That's how it works. So you're given clues and you have to make sense of them, trying to see the big picture. And best thing about this game is that environmental storytelling is actually part of the story. Quite frankly, it is your job to look around, find the clues, take photos of all the evidence, and then draw your conclusions from everything that you found.
Because there's one thing I'm sure of. Everything's about to fall apart.
What's even better is that your ending depends on how well you perform that task. So, the better you did your job analyzing everything around you, and the more environmental storytelling you absorbed, the better your ending will be, revealing the real story if you found all the clues, especially the ones that are very hard to find. How did it all come to this? Who's responsible?
Did I do that?
What happened here? Thankfully, all the answers are out there, if you're observant enough. And that is exactly how you make an effective thriller. Although I can't even remember the last time a game was designed in such a way it would filter all the ADHD people as hard as this one, because paying so much attention would probably kill them. Oh well. Let's move on. So as a structural analyst, it is your job to observe and report anything out of the ordinary. Like holes in the local dam. Or exposed wires. Cave-ins. Falling ceilings, not to be confused with cave-ins. Or when there's more than two people talking to each other in a public space. That kind of thing. And everything goes into your cringe compilation. And check this shit out. Cops in Finland don't give a fuck anymore.
Shit!
Anyway, you will learn to pay a great deal of attention to all this stuff, because finding those cracks, defects, fractures, damage and general breakdown is strangely satisfying. Now you will finally know how it feels to do something about that pothole you always trip on when coming home drunk, or during a quick run for Monster Energy in between your League of Legends matches. See? It's fixed now. As you've probably guessed, the biggest obstacle you will encounter in this game are the puzzles. They can vary from Uncharted difficulty level to the ridiculous levels of the Myst game series. So don't feel bad if you get stuck somewhere along the way. I was. But frankly, all that doesn't matter, because our hero has the greatest superpower of all time. And I'm not talking about surviving a ludicrous amount of damage. That's just one of the perks of rolling a Finnish character. I am talking about calling your boss on a cell phone without mentally preparing yourself for an entire week to do that. Just like certain someone has been putting off that important phone call. Wink wink.
It's me. I'm somewhere near the Bergman's house. I barely got out there before the ceiling caved in.
Are you serious?
I'm always serious.
If you still haven't noticed, the developers paid particular care to making level design and all the set pieces to be as realistic as possible. And this is one of those rare occasions where it doesn't make the game boring, it elevates it to a new level. You see, both in real life and in video games, our brain is wired to constantly look for patterns and analyze how much sense they make. So, the more patterns you find in a video game to make sense of everything, the more our brain is willing to accept that world as if it was real. That's why we can enjoy even the most bizarre games, but only if they are consistent in what they show and tell us. And that's how you achieve successful immersion, by following and not breaking the pattern and bringing all the set pieces together in one nice and clean big picture. And that is what differentiates great games from bad games, its consistency in level design. And this game is consistent, if nothing else. It's as close to an actual urban exploration as a game can be. If you tried it, then you already know what I'm talking about. If not, I suggest you go outside more. It's a lot of fun, considering that now half the planet looks like this game, so you don't have to go too far to find something abandoned to explore. And you could see that it was made by a Finnish developer, as you encounter lots of boos and don't encounter any people in your immediate vicinity your entire playthrough, which makes it a perfect game for sociopaths. And a careful viewer can tell that, judging by my accent, I'm no stranger to marriage-destroying Jews myself.
Yes!
But this is just taking things to a whole new level. No, I mean, kudos to them. This game made me wish I was an alcoholic, and that's what I call immersion. The sound and music in this game are done very well, and I actually think that the game developers did some serious industrial tourism and then recreated everything from the facilities they visited, both in terms of models and sounds. And that's why everything that we hear in this game sounds extremely real. Check it out. And the ambient music makes it just about good enough to take your breath away once in a while, despite the fact that it was all made with assets that are older than most of YouTube users. The music is memorable and is not sticking out to ruin the mood of the game. Quite the opposite. It complements it very nicely and sets the right atmosphere that makes you contemplate alone with your thoughts, and I respect that. It's more than 1 hour of tracks that can be piled together into one of those lo-fi chill beats to survive falling ceilings and spot cracks in concrete kind of playlists. Graphically, the game looks super swell, and it hits the right tone in its choice of colors and shades to competently tell us a grounded story of a city past its prime that's in dire need of some structural repairs and tons of rehab centers for alcoholics. And that's a lot more than can be said about even the biggest AAA titles today. They're just dumb and lazy blockbusters with extremely poor writing. And even graphically, they're not always that great. And this is where Infra acts more like a one-man show with lots of time spent on world building, and that's why it's so easy to get immersed in it. I mean, sure, it can look rough around the edges here and there, but then again, you have to bear in mind that the development started as far back as 2011 using unmodified Source Engine assets with the efforts of just 5 guys. And somehow they managed to create the most realistic landscapes and set pieces with almost nothing. I think it's one of the best Source games ever made in terms of visuals and audio. And, well, who better to sing praises to this game than Aaron Green from the most venerable website engineering.com. Quote, Infra, the civil engineering game we have been waiting for. Now, frankly, if that's not selling you the game, then get the fuck out. Well, yes, this game is certainly not for everyone, but the great thing about it is that you can easily play it without paying too much attention to the whodunit plot structure. So no need to frantically look for every piece of evidence. Just enjoy the ride. This game is a wonderful meditation/benchmarking experience, and playing it that way will give you the feeling of ultimate zen. And that is something we all want to have these days. Our own happy place. No unnecessary gimmicks or distractions. So there are no daily quests, no microtransactions, no appointments to your dentist. It's perfect. It's the ultimate healthy escapism game from one reality to another. But this one's in Finland, so it's better. Maybe. If you do, however, decide to play the game while keeping track of all cast of characters and trying to find all notes and books lying around, then you'll find yourself enveloped into a scandalous conspiracy involving multiple parties, which can lead to a multitude of different endings. You know, that variety of gameplay styles is truly a mark of a great game, because there is no wrong way to play it. And if you try it, you'll be amazed at how the unmodified source engine somehow still holds up. It is so realistic that when you play it, it counts as going outside in real life. But you don't have to wear a mask and it has no police brutality. It's a consistently good game, except for that horrible first level in the office building. But you know, it's the Finns, so it makes total sense that they don't know how other people look like. So, as I was saying, consistency is Infra's strongest point. It's also completely self-aware and hides lots of secrets. So, anyway. This game delivers a clear authorial vision and a good story, and we rarely see Finland mentioned anywhere nowadays. But when we do, we know that shit will absolutely get real. And I guarantee you, you've never played anything like this. Thanks for watching. Oh, you'll appreciate this if you watched until this part. So, apparently, the game developer put a secret message inside the game that players are still trying to solve after some 5 years of its release. They scattered the letters of the code real good, and people still don't know what the message is supposed to be. Maybe it's a recipe for very tasty meatballs, or the nuclear launch codes. Could be either, I don't know. But this is probably one of the most convoluted, fashionable and longest cases of Easter eggs blue balls anyone has ever seen. And that should tell you something about how much the developers really tried and cared about the game they were making. So, you shouldn't miss this one out. Oh, and if you want to try another good Finnish game, well, let's talk about that next time. I'll get to it soon enough.